All right, away from security challenges in different parts of the continent, the World Bank has disclosed that it approved over 1.1 billion US dollars to Zambia since the commencement of the G20 Common Framework discussions. World Bank Country Director for Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Tanzania, Nathan Belete, says the bank is associated with Zambia due to government's reforms and commitments to strong fiscal discipline and advancements to the economic growth agenda.
The Bankers Association of Zambia has said that it expects a low benchmark for interest rates following the debt restructuring deal that will widen government's resource envelope. The Chief Executive Officer, Leonard Mwanza, says in an interview that the association anticipates reduced interest rates because the appetite from government to borrow from the local market will be reduced. Joining us live from Lusaka is Dr. Nicholas Mainza. He's a Zambian economist. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you for being part of you.
Right. Happy Friday to you as well. Let's talk about this debt restructuring deal that Zambia has reached. Some say that this would be a turnaround in Zambia's economic recovery, paving way for the IMF, of course. So I want you to give us further details as to what exactly the restructuring means to Zambia and the Zambian citizens. Do they really understand the impact of this fully?
Yeah, thank you. There's been a very huge jubilation for the whole part of the country, as well as even Southern Africa as well, because we work as a region. The moment that the debt restructuring deal was agreed upon or set, I think for those that really understand what it calls for, there was a serious jubilation. The only gap that needs to be bridged now between government of the day as well as the electorates or the citizens of the country is that all we need to do, or what the government needs to do, is to break it down to the electorates, make them understand what really it means, what comes with it, what benefits comes with the citizens. Then they may look at it as it's the scope for government, but then what has government scored for us? What benefit has it got to our socio-economic life? So it is a challenge that is imposed on the government. It's a task, it's a huge task that we need to do within a certain period of time to explain to them, have forums, if possible, in each and every province, to explain to the people, have seminars, have workshops, run some programs even on television, just to explain to them what it entails. It is something that we don't need to say, no, you will see the benefits in the long run. This is quite immediate as long as the agreement has been reached. Otherwise, this is a great milestone to celebrate for as a country.
President Hakainde Hichilema has been praised in the last long while, for some of his economic ideas and certain moves that he's made, since taking over office. Is this one of the things that he should also be celebrated, about? And we have also observed that the debt restructuring has brought up a debate. Some of them, of course, are supporting it and others are against it. What would you say is the general consensus on debt restructuring as an economist? And of course, also talk about President Hakainde Hichilema.
Thank you so very much. I'm a fan of President Hakainde Hichilema, to be honest, not just because I'm an economist. That probably maybe we meet in one way or the other. When we come to independence like this, there's where technocrats will differ and agree upon. That is the story of the day. But for this one, I would outright mention it that this is a milestone in the making that the president has done. It has not been easy. Remember, there are a lot of countries within the continent that are still struggling, still having negotiations that have taken long overdue just to reach an agreement. But he is coming into office here scored this within the shortest period of time. These are some of appreciate for having an economist as a person who's leading the country. He has the country by his just right on his heart. So what really this entails is that what we need to understand is that the 6.3 billion US dollar that the country or Zambia has been owed in Belete. I mean, these invest. I mean, these financial institutions that was supposed to be paid by 2031. What this agreement then entails is that there's been a lot of money that has been made loose. This agreement is giving Zambia as a country now to have some certain liquidity. The cash flow is going to be seen and is going to improve, because there's some money that has been made to be realized that it will be able to be put into other ventures or certain ventures for the country to be able to say, this is going to improve the socio-economic life. For example, issues to do with CDF. CDF definitely is going to be increased because of the money that has been made loose by the country. This agreement is something that is, even the electors are going to appreciate, as we move on. What I can just make mention is that what this entails is that instead of the country to be paying the amount of money that they're supposed to be paying, whether it's every year, every budget that is set, they've lessened that debt, to say Zambia is only going to be paying a certain amount of the interest without paying the principal. So that money that was supposed to go there to be paid as part of the principal, it will be paid at a later stage. For now, we've been given a leeway of that, within the next 14 years, the country is going to be paying back, only 0.75 billion up to 2031. Instead of the entire the other remaining 5.55 billion, which will now, be taken to be paid all the way up to 2043. So this will give us as a country now to have some certain liquidity to be able to invest in the health sector, to invest in the agriculture sector, to invest into these other, government entities that needs to, to improve the livelihoods of the people.
I'm glad that you've mentioned these sectors, which is sort of what I wanted to ask you about next, because whilst this is such a great relief for the Zambian economy, to be able to say that for the next 20 years, this will be spread across with a 3-year grace period, and only the interest on the debt should be paid, after for a certain duration. Let's also talk about the fact that many usually have these concerns about proper management of funds. So we have, on the other hand, IMF disbursing $188 million. And there may be fears about mismanagement of all these funds or mismanagement of these debts. And what are the key areas that President Hakainde Hichilema is going to be making these investments in? Has he clarified the areas to expect these investments to be made in?
Yeah, thank you. It's not an easy task to be, to reach an agreement of debt restructuring with IMF. It takes some certain level of trust, certain level of confidence, certain level, which must be seen by the World Bank, IMF, to say, if we are to give them this leeway, or maybe agree with them to restructure the debt that they are owing, then they are going to put the money into the intended purpose. If you make them trust, you make them have that confidence to agree and say, should we allow them like this? Then they are going to, to better the lives of the people. Then they are going to do it. And this is what actually the New Dawn government has actually done. Hakainde Hichilema, the president of Zambia, has actually convinced them to say he's a man, on the ground at the moment that can do everything, to unlock all these kind of rigidity, issues to do with corruption, issues to do with mismanagement of resources, specifically financial. So now, the president actually, even looking at the party manifesto, you would see that his intention, his area of need, is to improve the rural communities, to improve the livelihoods of the people in the communities. These have been areas that have been under-supported, underdeveloped. So then, what he has done is that, he has made it clear that I want the resources, the money is to go closer to the people, because they are the ones who are experiencing, who knows the areas which they may need. Areas to do with sanitation, shortages of water, as well as food. So he has actually, advocated for devolution, decentralization of, government execution activities. So the one bigger area that the president has highlighted is that he wants to improve on CDF, what we may call the Constituency Development Fund. From the time that Hakainde Hichilema came into government, he increased from the previous 1.6 million kwacha that was given as a Constituency Development Fund to actually about 28 million Zambian kwacha. That's a huge increment within a shortest period of time. So that actually now unlocks everything in terms of how to improve on the road networks, how to improve on, the food availability, to improve on all sorts of social activities there, even health inclusive, as well as education. I can make mention to you that we've seen the devolution, of certain ministries. For example, I can make mention of Minister of Education, Minister of Health, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. These are some of the ministries that have been devolved, to go to the local authority or local government.
I mean, so it's important that we certainly break down what needs to be done in these different sectors and in these different ministries. And we certainly look forward to having you join us back again to have further conversation. Thank you very much, Dr. Nicholas, for your time with us this morning.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
You as well.